It got better. What is it down there? That was the pergola. My boss did a little smoke detector going off in the kitchen. Ooh. Ouch. He's come to Elmer. We're taking care of him.
All right.
Yeah, I was.
Set that up to where that's kind of like there. All right.
I wonder, let's just for, what? Hell. See, it's picking up the mic now.
I don't have it on.
I know, picking up.
Turn that one off. Leave that one. We'll leave that. We'll turn that one.
And then let's see, microphone. No, it's on the camera right now. So if you go over there and talk to the camera.
Oh, it's on the one right here. Okay, shut that one off. Oh, Sam.
Hey, Mark. I was wondering if I'd gone
Hold
down.
on, let me turn the volume up. He's got it way down.
Hello.
Okay, Sam, now I should be able to hear you.
All righty. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going deaf or what, but
We actually got a pretty good group here tonight.
yeah, looks like it. I've got grandkids coming in tomorrow, so I can't stay too long. My wife's frantic, so cleaning, getting ready for grandbabies.
The life of being retired.
Yeah. It stays busy though. You should
I'll
know.
tell you. Yes. You always used to say that when you retire, you couldn't figure out how you managed to get all that stuff done when you were working.
Yeah, that's true. I think I've got a plan for my truck. I just haven't implemented anything yet. I'm going to put everything on the back.
Yep.
Go out somewhere under that back seat, and I'm going to have the actual radio is going to be under the back seat, so everything's going to go out and be on the bed back there. But haven't got all the details worked out yet.
That's cool.
Went and bought a little chunk of stainless steel the other day, about this long. Well, you can't see me. It's 12 inches long by 3/4 inches wide. $7 and something for a piece of stainless steel.
Wow.
And that was the cheapest price I could find.
I'm surprised you just didn't make one with the printer.
I'd love to be able to print metal. That'd be cool. I do think I may print a mount for for up on the console. That's one of my biggest things. You know, I have that T-shift, so I don't have the options you have, but I'm thinking about printing something, drawing it in CAD and printing it myself. And does yours have a little like compartment at the very front of the console?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. I'm thinking about printing some kind of mount that'll clip in there and then hold the radio right there, right underneath the air conditioning controls. Just hold it right there in the middle.
That'd be helpful.
Control head. Yeah, it's a lot tougher in this truck because that console's wide. Sure, same as yours. I mean, you know, my other one, I actually had it mounted on the passenger side on a floor mount, and you know, came out from under the seat. But man, if I do my arms aren't long enough to reach over and get to this.
Okay. Oh, by the way, we figured out a secret tonight that we didn't realize. Last time we had it on, the microphones and stuff, we actually had two separate microphones on we didn't realize.
Oh.
We had the one on the camera that you see me with. There was a microphone on the camera and we didn't realize that, and it was live. And then I've got the microphone in hand, the wireless in hand.
Yeah.
So we shut the camera one off and it's a lot better.
Yeah, you know, it's we were having a couple times last week, we were having a hard time carrying a conversation on Zoom because you all were talking and it was picking that up and drowning us out. It was really tough.
So you guys all get to talking on there, and then I'll just shut this thing here off, and
yeah,
and you guys can have your conversation and they can be noisy in here.
So you got anything going on there? Looks like Ken's got
hooking up cables and putting connectors on cables, and they're supposed to be doing an antenna tonight, trying to fix it. And we got 3 or 4, and one is a computer setup to program a radio. You know, little stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see who else we got here tonight. Christine?
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. I like your background.
Oh, thanks. I fell asleep one night and accidentally ordered something off Amazon.
Oh, that looks cool. A lot of them, they have like Sam's up there is an image background on it there on that. But I like yours. That's pretty cool with the world map on it.
Yeah, it takes up 2 of my walls.
Wow.
Well, welcome tonight. We're glad to have you.
Are those pins
We're kind of split up as 2 groups? We've got the group live here at the Elmer night, and we work on projects in here. And then we got the group that sometimes can't make it to the Elmer night. We started out with the COVID and everything having to do just the Zoom. And we had, gosh, Sam, we had what? Sometimes 25, 30 people on there.
Yeah.
And now we've got the split where we're going to do Zoom and we're going to do in live. You're more than welcome to always come to the live if you have the opportunity. We're at the fire station number 7 in Norman, right next to the airport.
Which, by the way, doesn't come up on my map or my GPS thing.
But we're right next to the, I can never think of the name of the airport, but
Max Weimer. Anyway, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Westheimer.
And we're just the airport's across the street basically from us.
Okay.
We're at the fire station number 7 here.
I think you're actually on the airport grounds, aren't you?
Yeah, we're on airport grounds.
Is that over by where, across from Ozzy's, where Ozzy's used to be? Ozzy's Diner?
No. I was trying to think of the main road out here that runs
Flood?
parallel to us.
No, you turn off Flood onto
Let me.
Goddard. I knew I'd think of it. Fire station's on
Sorry,
Goddard.
I need your help for a second.
Okay.
It's just like a
tell
2 blocks
Christine how
off
to
of
get
Flood on Goddard,
You know,
like
better.
turning into the
Hello,
airport
Christine.
on Goddard.
Where are you coming from?
I'm Robinson Street from out by Thunderbird.
Oh, Robinson out by Thunderbird. We're at the fire station. We're at the airport. You know where the airport is?
She even knows
We're
the
at
name
Rock
of the
Creek.
airport.
Rock Creek and Flood.
Rock Creek and Flood. Okay. Over by
We're
the
just
railroad tracks.
We're just a block west of Rock Creek and Flood.
That's
Is
Goddard,
where we are.
isn't it?
There's a the terminal building. You know where your terminal? Like if you go from Rock Creek and Flood to the terminal building.
Like you're turning off to go back towards the Y.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we're north of the Y.
Okay.
If you got a GPS, it's 2207 Goddard.
Okay. I might try to come out there. I bought a couple of radios so that I could communicate with my kiddos out towards Little Axe if something ever happened to our phones.
Uh-huh.
But I'll be darned if I can figure them out.
We'll help you get licensed if that's what you need, or look at your
I
radio. see what
even-
you got.
I even got the book
Oh.
to get licensed.
Good to go.
So
Well, yeah, we will darn sure. We're here Tuesday night, so yeah, come on by. 6:30 to
That's
9.
probably the best thing to do with something hard like that with radios is go out there where they can
Let's
get
go out
hands
there.
on.
Yep.
We've done a lot of diagnosing on Zoom, but it's a whole lot easier when you
oh no, they're
lay hands
brand
on it.
new. I just haven't.
Oh, UVH. Okay. What we have to do is program those off of a computer. So bring those little doodads and we'll help you get through it.
Okay. Is it too late to come out there tonight?
No, we're just getting started. I mean,
No,
they're-
we go 6:30 to 9. You're more than welcome to come on out or do it next Tuesday or whatever you want to do. Or
Okay.
both.
Well, my grandkids just left. I'm daycare nana, so that gives me probably 8 minutes to get up there if I get them in the car.
Your choice.
Go on
We'll
up.
be here and we won't run away. Do you let me give you a phone number. That's my phone.
Okay. Let me write it down. Let me grab a pen.
Do you remember your phone number, Mark?
I like your backdrop.
That's my wall.
Look for the parking lot there at the fire station with trucks with antennas on them.
Yep.
What is that? The south end? I get turned around.
It's the north end of the airport, but
No, of the building.
north of the building is the parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah, which end of the building are you in though? The north end?
Oh, we're in the west end. My
Okay.
number is 405-410-6756.
Oh, you
Okay.
remember.
If you get lost, give me a call. We'll figure it out.
First
Okay.
time I went there, Mark, I woke up a bunch of firemen. I went in the wrong door, you know. so-
Yeah.
Okay. Come in the west side.
On the west side, you'll see a bunch of cars, a bunch of trucks with antennas on them. So west
Okay.
side.
All right. I'm gonna
Come
shut
on
this
down.
I'll
Good to see you.
All right. It's nice to
Thanks.
meet you. Thanks.
See you later.
Good luck.
Bye.
Thank you. That was
Hello.
crazy.
Ken and Denny and Bill.
Hey, Sam,
Oh,
Sam, Bill, and Denny, and Mark. Mark's leaving us.
All right, guys. Well, look, there's Ken and Bill and Denny. Wow.
Okay.
Mark, you're gonna have to get that sideband antenna up. I worked the station in Kingfisher on 2-meter FT8, and my antenna was pointed toward Norman, so he was off the side of it.
Wow.
And I keep hearing this guy in Mounds, but I haven't worked him. He's completely off the back of my antenna, and he's pretty close to Arkansas.
Wow, that's cool.
But there's some fun to be had there.
I'm working on getting mine up. I just had a lot going on the last 2 weeks. And
Yeah, I bought a 2-meter Elecraft transverter, and I've got it modified and working. And I got it hooked up to GPS, and I ordered another GPS a few days ago, and I got it today. So I'm surprised I got it that quick.
well, I started to call you and just see if I could pick you up on my 2-meter 440 ground plane and just do the 432 off of the ground plane and see what happened.
I think you could. It seems like that. I don't remember. That might be what Mike first copied me on. You're not too far.
I don't have my 2-meter 440, the other one, my one that I got for the sideband.
You're yagging.
I don't have it up yet, but I thought I might try my ground plane and just see if I could pick you up. You're only in Shawnee.
Yeah. Well, whenever you get around to it, I'm kind of doing different things. I've got the 440 set up now because I'm going to try to do some moon bounce here in a few days. And,
okay.
I've only got one K3 now, so my other K3. I try to keep 2 stations set up, and I sold that K3 to Ham and Shawnee, thinking I'm going to buy a K4, but those people are so slow, about to give up on them. But I've been having a blast on 440 and 2 meters.
I bet you have.
So what
I've
are you
been
going
so
to use?
busy. I haven't got to. Sorry, Sam. I haven't been so busy. I haven't got to get on the radio much lately. So.
Oh, and I copied a bunch of people on satellite on 2 meters too, and 440. Go ahead, Sam.
I was just scared. What are you going to use for moon bounce? What are you?
I've just got 2 20 element homebrew antennas just built. There's a picture of them on k5dnl.com or on go to qrz.com. And they're homebrew, 20 element, each one of them's 20 elements. And so on a 14-foot boom, I've got about 18 dBs of gain with 2 of them stacked together. And I've got a mass mount preamp that switches in and out. And boy, that mass mount preamp really made the difference. So I'm getting ready. I still don't have tracking. So I'm going to have to wait until I can see the moon to point it at it to work. Yeah. And I'm not going to invest in tracking hardware until I find out if this is going to work.
I just went to your website. That is quite a console you're sitting at there.
Oh yeah, that's 1960 when I was in the Air Force. That's on Anderson Air Force Base, Guam Island.
Wow, all those phones.
Yeah, yeah, that's back in the old days.
Yeah, a couple of them don't have. Couple of them don't.
Those radios, it's a Collins 75A4 and KWS1 with a 2 kilowatt linear.
Notice a couple of those phones don't have dials, which means they ring somebody's house. Yeah.
They're hotlines to the base commander. And
I'm on your website. Where's the what am I looking for here?
I may not have it on there. Okay. You may have to go to QRZ to see it. Oh, it was posted on our web, our club website, our club chat thing, which
Facebook.
No, I think we talked about this before, and I didn't know how to send you an invite. It's called Discord. Are you guys on Discord? There's a lot.
Seems like I did get on there.
There's a lot of chit chat in the daytime on Discord, and we've been helping Mike
There's
out a little
Discord.
bit. And he's been doing really good on working some digital modes. On
Yeah, there's
well, if you go to QRZ.com, there's a picture of it on there. QRZ.com, and I think it's fairly close to the top. I don't remember. Then, well, let me pull up QRZ on this other computer, so I won't steer you wrong.
okay. I'm on QRZ.com.
Yeah, scroll down to the first picture, and that's my EME setup. And it's it.
Not yet.
Got my call sign in QRZ.com.
Not yet. I just got logged in.
Oh,
Had
yeah,
to get
there's
logged into
there's that
QRZ.
login thing.
There you are.
It's homebrew, and
Oh my goodness.
I aluminum braze the elements to the boom, so that's all a one-piece homebrew. The boom is pretty big for this small of an antenna. It's 1.5 inch square tubing, which is really rigid. It don't sag at all, you know. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to have to put a bunch of support wires and stuff on it. So that's 40 elements here at the point at the moon. And that box down there, it's got a low noise preamp in it with relay to switch it in and out when you go from receive to transmit.
You build that little tower it's sitting on too?
No, that little tower is one of those things that goes on the roof of a house.
Okay.
And the CBer guy lives in Jones, Oklahoma, gave me that about 20 years ago. And I was thinking, I'll take that. I might use that someday.
Oh my gosh. Look at that thing.
That's pretty neat.
That is.
And the driven element is like a folded dipole, and that's the I've built a lot of different kinds of matching things, but this is better for moonbound because it has a better pattern. It's a balanced driven element as opposed to a gamma match that's not a balanced driven element. But I like gamma matches, but just not for EME work. So we'll see if I can copy a signal off the moon. Now that I've still got a coax problem, and I've got a piece of coax ordered, should be here in a couple of days. But you have to use really low loss coax, and you need a preamp out at the antenna because at that frequency, you know, you have to have good coax, or you're going to have quite a bit of loss. And you know, you can't stand to lose 6 or 8 dBs of received signal,
Right.
or you won't hear nothing. The first station that I worked off the moon was it must have been 15 or more years ago. I used a single homebrew 11 element antenna and a 50-watt Kenwood transceiver, and I worked a Russian, and he was a big gun. You know, he had big antenna and running a couple of KW, and that got me hooked.
So, I mean, this may sound like a stupid question, but how do you know you're coming off the moon? Just because you're aimed at the moon and
Well,
you're talking
right.
to somebody on the other side of the world? Is that the clue?
if you're on UHF or VHF, you don't just work people hundreds of miles away or
Right.
even very close to you. When your antenna is pointing up in the air like that, pointing at the moon, And you know it's coming off the moon anyway because there is 2.5 second delay in the signal.
Okay.
So when you get through transmitting, the software waits for 2.5 seconds for the other guy to decode, and then he starts transmitting. And it's pretty easy to tell it's off the moon.
So how aimed do you have to be? I mean, are you going to have to be constantly moving this thing during a?
I'm going to have to be on it pretty good. And that's the problem unless you have, so I did the 2-meter EME years ago, and I had a homebrew tracking device where there's a computer programs that output the coordinates of the moon out a serial port, and the output of that went into a little computer on a chip, and that thing was programmed with mini basic, and so I could program that. It took me all winter to figure out how to program that silly thing.
Wow.
But it would automatically track the moon, and I parked it north, and whenever I'd turn it on, when the moon came above the horizon, it would rotate it to it and track it until it went down from the horizon. So that really helps a lot if you can automatically track it. And I had a camera up there so I could see the moon, which wasn't too useful, but it helped me get it calibrated. And once I got it calibrated, then even if I couldn't see it, I was pretty confident that I was on target.
Right.
And some of those big gun guys in Europe, you can actually hear the signal coming off the moon. And you can decode them when you can't even see it on the waterfall. So I was decoding those guys down to -28. That was using a program called JT65. And they still use that today. They got a newer version now. But
That's pretty amazing, Ken. I mean,
it got me hooked. It was really fun. It was a lot of work. I'd done a lot of bands and stuff, and I was ready for a new challenge, I guess. I had a M², it was 1.2 kW solid state amplifier. I'll run it about 800 or 900 watts with 4 M² Jaggies that were, each one of them was 17 elements. And there's a picture of that on grz.com. Scroll all the way down to the bottom.
back over.
I think that's still on there. Yeah, next to the bottom, you'll see that 2-meter moon bounce antenna.
So the second one from the bottom.
Yeah. One with the 16-foot ladder leaning up against the tower.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And I put that sucker up by myself.
I like that little tower too.
That's a Roan 45. It's 20 foot. It's a little over 20 foot. I put a short section in the ground, cemented the short section in the ground, and then put the other sections on it. So
Yeah.
it's a little over 20 feet. You don't need to be real high in the air if your antenna's pointing up, but it's got to be high enough that when it is pointing up, that if someone walks under it, they won't hit their head on it. So
Yeah. Got to mow all that lawn too.
yeah. And you can see the camera on that picture up there. It's in a housing.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the left little box, white box up there.
Yeah. And then scroll down one more antenna, and you'll see that top beam on there is a homebrew 10-meter monobander, 5-element monobander. And that boom is made out of 3-inch irrigation tubing. And then the antenna below it is a 40-meter full length 40-meter rotatable dipole with that gamma match on it. You can see the gamma match.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a matching network.
Was that on the same tower as the one above it, or do you have multiple towers running?
Yeah, I've got 2 towers.
Okay.
And then I got the big 60-foot vertical in the back. When you scroll back up to that 70-centimeter moon band antenna up the top, you look over the top of the trees back there in the back, you can see that 60-foot vertical, and that's made out of 4-inch diameter irrigation tubing, 2 30-foot sections put together.
The one sticking up over the tree there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that vertical on the left is called a unipole antenna. It's for 80 and 160 meters. And it's a unipole, which not too many hams has ever built those. A lot of back in the 50s and 60s, some AM broadcast stations used unipoles, and they have a pretty good advantage. Doesn't have a real big footprint for an 80 or 160 meter antenna. That piece of tubing there is irrigation tubing, and it's only 30 foot long. And the radials, I can't remember, I must have probably 8 or 10 radials underground there that are probably 20, 30 feet long. So not a real big footprint. And it's resonant at 80 meters. And I use a little loading coil on the bottom of it to get me down to 160. It works really good. Then on the tower to the right is the one that's got tri-bander and 6 meter antenna on top, and a 17 meter rotatable dipole, 2 meter antenna, 2 2-meter antennas, and a 432 Yagi. Lots of coax going into the house. You can see them there in the.
Yeah, I understand now why you need that big pipe.
And that's only one tower. Then the other tower got a piece of tubing going into the house there too.
So you got all that, what is it? That looks like what, 4-inch PVC or
Yeah.
coming out at each of those towers? And
Yeah. Well, that tower, there's 2 towers kind of together there on the right side. And the tower in the back that's got that 4-inch PVC going up the tower, that's got 7/8 hard line in it for the, it's real low loss hard line cable. Goes up to the top of that PVC, and then I reduced down from there to some LMR 400, which is a smaller cable about the size of our G8, but it's low loss.
I'm gonna have to show my brother-in-law how you took that pipe up, because it's what he's getting ready to do is something similar with that Rome. He's going to bury a section. He's building his house, and he's going to have, while they're doing the concrete, he's going to have him bury a section, and then he's going to.
For what? For the PVC?
Yeah, the way you took the PVC up and then did the loop or the hook at the top to keep moisture out.
Oh yeah. Yep, I do that on all of them. On this tower on the right side, down toward the bottom right, you can see where the PVC that's coming out of the house, it goes up to 180 degrees, turns back down, and then my coax come out and goes up. Well, that's how you keep the water out of it. You got to do that. And I stick steel wool up in there to keep any rodents from going up in.
Yeah. I even do that coming into my house. I've got it on the inside and on the outside where my pipe comes through the wall.
Yeah. And that one back on that other tower that you see that runs up the tower,
Yeah.
I had to
Bottom.
put steel wool at the top of that because wrens kept trying to build a nest in there.
Oh my gosh. uh, yep. Pretty nice. I go back over here. Speaking of holes and bringing, let's see if Don showed up tonight.
I don't see him. I sent him that book. I had a brand new book that was,
If he ever got his hole drilled in his house.
yeah. I had a new book that was from a piece of equipment that I sold. He wanted it, and I mailed it to him the next day. I don't know how long it takes to get there, but I built some circuit boards. I used to build some amplifiers for 630 meters and 2200 meters. That's what's on my website, k5bnl.com. And I quit doing it at the end of last year. Actually, it was too much work for me. I'm retired. I'm not supposed to be working hard.
No.
And, but I was still getting, people still want it. And I just sent some to Norway. And I sent a little circuit board over there. And I got one myself. If you can see this or not, but this is a driver board for an amplifier that I built. And you see how small this is?
Yep.
It was almost $40 shipping to ship this thing to Norway. Can you believe that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I got a little business. I ship every day.
Wow.
People can't believe what I tell them it costs almost $10 to ship a feather to Tulsa. So, and the more it weighs and the further it goes, it just goes up from there.
I know it.
But with gas where it is, and shipping went up when gas went up to $4 a gallon. Shipping just kept going up and up and up, and it's never changed. Even though gas came back down.
Oh yeah, it always does that.
It never dropped the price back. So
I noticed today, I don't burn gas with alcohol in any of my vehicles. So real gasoline is $3.08 a gallon here.
yep. At least we can get it.
Yeah.
I took that trip all the way to Yellowstone and back, and after I got out of Oklahoma, I found a little bit in Nebraska and just don't see anything in Wyoming or any place except ethanol.
Yeah.
But
you need a big tank on your new Ford pickup. I've got a tool and fuel. It's a toolbox. It's got a gas tank in the bottom of it.
Oh yeah.
So I carry an extra 40 gallons of gas that way. And I can fill up when I find cheap gas. Of course, you can't find cheap gas anymore, but used to, I could fill up. And it was pretty nice to be able to do that a lot of times. Man, you can hit some places in Oregon and California that the gases are really high.
Yep. Trying to think. Well, when we were coming out of Wyoming, there was this big sign that said, fill up now on cheap Wyoming gas before you cross into Nebraska.
Yeah.
And we didn't need it. We crossed into Nebraska. The price dropped like 30 cents a gallon in Nebraska, but they were having people pulling over like crazy in Wyoming. It was
pretty smart advertisement there.
Yep. Yeah, it was really weird at the Sinclair stations in Nebraska. The middle octane gas was cheaper than the lower octane gas.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I asked a couple of the guys. Of course, all these. Not that these people are experts. They're 7-Eleven type people, but anyway, they're like, it's the way it's always been. It's just a Nebraska thing. I don't know what the deal is.
Maybe it's a supply and demand thing, huh?
Yeah. So I was trying to think. I wrote down every time we filled up, and I don't know what I did with it. I make a lot of notes, and I can't remember what I did with them.
Yeah, my wife used to keep all that stuff.
I was trying to, we paid over $4 a gallon
Wow.
during that trip, you
Yeah.
know. And the funny thing was, I thought when we were in Yellowstone, they got gas stations in Yellowstone that they would really, just take you to the cleaners. They didn't. The gas was actually cheaper in the park than it was right outside the park.
When did you go to Yellowstone?
June.
June of this year?
We were there. We took a 3-week trip.
Did you camp in Yellowstone?
Yeah, 5 nights in the park.
The campground there by Yellowstone Lake, that's the only one there that's got full hookups.
Yeah.
Is that where y'all was at?
Well, and that's not the only one that we were at Madison, which is
Yeah.
over by, and it's got, somebody told us that the hosts there, and there are like 4 hosts at that campground that they get full hookups. But
Yeah.
we drove over there and there's more than 4. There's more than 4 full hookups.
Did you get a full hookup?
Oh no, we got a no hookup. we didn't rate that. But
Well, we'd always made reservations ahead of time, and we went in September when it wasn't so crowded.
My wife got 2 nights first, and she really worked hard, got 2 nights, and then just kept going back and got 2 more nights.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and then we got a 5th night. So we had people offering to buy them. I mean, most of our neighbors were there for 1 night.
Yeah.
And we had telling people they were there for 5 nights. They were like, offering to buy our nights from us,
You gotta work at it. It don't just happen.
Yeah. Well, my wife is quite good at that.
Yeah. Well, we would make our reservation months ahead of time, and most we ever stayed there was 3 weeks at one time. But normally we would only stay 2 weeks or 10 days, something like that. But we really loved it up there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And if you go in the fall, man, the aspen trees are turning, and it's the rutting season for the elk. And you don't have a lot of families there in September, but you do see a lot of wildlife photographers, and that's what we did. We went for wildlife photography.
Well, this is our first time I've been there, and we touched everything pretty much, but it really didn't.
It's a big place, and it takes you a week to get around to see it.
Yeah.
Did you see the
saw a bunch of elk and
moose?
Unfortunately saw a lot of bison, which I can see here. Didn't
Yeah.
excite me too much, but
Yeah.
it would back up traffic for 12 miles.
You see any
you know.
moose?
No, didn't there. We went over to Idaho. I have a cousin that lives over in Idaho, right outside of just to the west of Yellowstone, and
Mhm.
we went over there, and they have one of those rafts, those big blow up rafts. I mean, it's big as a
Yeah.
trailer, and they took us on a raft trip down this
Wow.
river over there,
Mhm.
and we saw moose over there. It was pretty
Yeah.
cool. The moose were coming down to drink, and
Yeah.
saw a mama with her baby,
Yeah.
but didn't see any in Yellowstone. They said actually one of the rangers told us that the moose have all moved down to what's south of Yellowstone. Drawing
Yeah.
a blank.
Well, that's where we seen most of the moose at, and there's a lake there. Can't remember the name of that lake. And that's right south, out the south entrance of Yellowstone.
Yeah.
We was one time when we was just going there on our way to Yellowstone, we stopped at that lake, and I was doing photography, and I might have told you this story before. If I have, stop me. But there was a guy, a wildlife photographer, in a canoe out there, and he paddled over to this little, kind of a peninsula, almost an island. Did I tell you this before?
Yeah, somebody left his camera. I can't remember.
Oh, that moose charged him, and he
Yeah.
ran and jumped in that canoe, and his momentum, he went out into the lake. And he was still there paddling around till when it was almost dark when we left, and he was still paddling around, waiting to go back and get his camera.
Yeah, there was a guy at a Walmart. we stopped, and I was talking to this guy, and he was talking about he was in the woods and just suddenly looked up, and here came 2 moose. There was apparently the daddies chased the babies off at a certain point, and when they get to a certain age, the fathers chase them off, so it'll be go out and be independent.
Yeah.
Anyway, here come the young one, and then here come the baby, and he said he just froze, and he said they all but brushed him as they went by, and he was just like, "Oh, thank goodness."
And them moose are big suckers, man.
They were so focused on, on what they were doing, they didn't even see him or care. But there's a great video on I found on YouTube of a moose shedding its antlers.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it said this. There's never been very many videos of this, and I don't know how, but this great big moose, and it had antlers that were like 3 feet long, huge antlers, and it shakes its head real hard, and one of the antlers falls off, and the moose almost falls down.
Wow.
I mean, the weight coming off there staggered him. He
just lost 80 pounds or so.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know how heavy that was, but it really staggered this great big moose.
Put him off balance, I guess.
Yeah. And he still had the other one. It didn't show but one of them coming off. But it's
the Tetons, that's the name of that.
Yeah, the Tetons. That's where I'd like to go back to. I mean, we touched Yellowstone, and I'll just have to say the time of year we were there, I've been told there were 10,000 people every time we stopped.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't enjoy that at all.
Well, living there in the park was kind of nice because we could get up and get to places before the crowds came in.
You have to, if you're going to Yellowstone, you have to stay in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Because it would take you till 10 o'clock in the morning to get to Yellowstone if you were outside of it.
Yeah.
And stayed somewhere outside.
Well, one morning we went into West Yellowstone, which was 14 miles. We needed supplies, and we went.
Oh, you went to the town of West Yellowstone?
Yeah, we went into the town of West Yellowstone, and the traffic was backed up the entire 14 miles from our campground into the.
I have never experienced that, and we've been to Yellowstone many, many times, but we always went. Well, take that back. I did go. I think the first time I went was like in June. And I didn't have a camper then, but after that, I always went in September and to do wildlife photography, and there wasn't hardly any people up. We never did see any traffic jams.
I'd like to go back sometime when it's not so crowded. But
the Tetons is really nice, and Cody, Wyoming is a unique town. Did you go through Cody?
Yeah, I went through. I mean, that's where we stopped at Walmart. But we went down through the Tetons, and we went down to the Snowy Range, which was further south. And I'll be honest, I drive, my wife navigates, and half the time, if she died, I wouldn't know where I was,
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful trip. But I'd like to go back. Funny thing about the Tetons, we stopped. There's like a visitor center at the north end of the Tetons, and there was there were people, but it wasn't crowded at all.
Yeah.
And then we went on down to the south end of it, and the visitor center there, they were parked 5 miles down the road. They were parked.
Yeah.
And we figured that's down by, anyway, it's just closer for more people. To get to the north end, you pretty much have to come through Yellowstone.
Yeah.
But to get to the south end, what is the name of that town?
Oh, you mean out of north side of Yellowstone into Montana?
No, the south side of Yellowstone,
Cody,
down toward
Wyoming.
the Tetons.
Cody, Wyoming.
No, I'm talking about south of the Tetons.
Jackson Hole.
Jackson Hole, yeah. And so people from Jackson Hole just swarm the south end of the Tetons.
Yeah. Jackson Hole is a tourist place in itself.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of artsy stuff in Jackson Hole, and we went through a lot of museums there, and we even went into this bar that had bar stools made out of saddles. You sit in a saddle and sit at the bar. That's pretty cool.
We had the trailer every time we went through Jackson. We went through there twice, and every time we had the trailer on there. So it's kind of a crowded little.
Yeah, it's not. And there's a campground just north of Jackson Hole. That's I guess it's a state campground, no hookups, primitive type thing. But it's not very far north of Jackson Hole, and we put our fifth wheel in there. even though we didn't have full hookups or anything, but we didn't need them for 1 or 2 nights. But what I was going to tell you is north of Jackson Hole or Jackson, Wyoming, between there and the south entrance of Yellowstone, there's a campground. It's on the west side of that road, and it's called something Ranch. And there's a big ranch in there.
Yeah, it's actually right between the Tetons
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
And we
kind of-
stayed in there because a lot of times when we'd leave here early in the morning, we'd drive to the Panhandle in Nebraska, and then the next morning we'd drive on the Yellowstone. So we'd do it in 2 days to that ranch part. And sometimes we would go all the way into Yellowstone. But anyway, you could stay there, and I guess that's private land or something, because you can buy a 3-day trout permit in there cheap, and there is trout streams galore on that property, and it's huge. It must be millions of acres, big lakes and trout streams. So we would go back in there, camp there, and go fishing back in there for a couple of days. I mean, it's wilderness, and you can go back there and not even see a person, not see a human being all day long.
Right.
And so that was kind of fun to do.
We went in there and we looked at the campground a little bit, and we, first trip through, and we were kind of speculating for if we come back, and just eyeballing it all.
You got to try to see as much as you can, and go
Yeah.
as fast as you can, so you know what to come back to.
Yeah. It's there were things I wanted to do. I wanted to see Old Faithful, and quite honestly, if I go back to Yellowstone, I don't need to go see Old Faithful. I saw it erupted at least 5 or 6 times while we were there.
We stayed in that lodge there one year for 3 nights, and I swear I'll never do that again.
Well, I'll tell you, we talked about it.
There it is.
We talked about it, and
You couldn't sleep in there, it was so noisy.
$400 for a night.
I think it was about, maybe when we did it, it's like $125 a night.
It's like,
But the rates might come down in the fall, after the rush. But I remember the campgrounds. That campground we stayed in there by the north end of Yellowstone Lake.
Yep.
That's the one with all full hookups. It wasn't any more expensive than the campgrounds in Oklahoma State Parks. I don't remember how much it was.
my wife's got that senior citizen pass thing. We get
Mhm.
really good rates on campsites, but we got a little generator, and gives me a chance, get the battery charged during the day when I can run the generator. And
Yeah.
biggest thing we had trouble with up there is I couldn't get my refrigerator to run on propane.
Yeah.
It's supposed to have a high altitude kit, but after I pass 4,000 feet, I can't get it to light.
I'll be
And
darned. Yeah.
problem is nobody around here can service it because they can't test it. They don't know. They look at it, they say
Yeah.
it looks like it's working right.
Yeah.
Well, till you get over 4,000 feet, and then it just won't light. So
Surely they could figure out what was wrong with it.
I don't know. Nobody's been able to yet.
Well, you just got a camp where you can plug in.
Yeah, that's nice. Now I got the generator, and I've got batteries. I don't know. What we finally did that worked pretty well is we started buying blocks of ice instead of bags of ice. We bought blocks.
Yeah, they last a lot longer than a bag.
And we just cleared out a space in the bottom of the refrigerator and put a block of ice down there, and kind of did it old school. That kept everything plenty cold. So that's the way my wife did it when she was a little girl, and they used to go camping. They didn't have electricity, and they just had an ice box basically, and they put blocks of ice in there. So
if you had a small inverter, and with a small inverter and a generator, you could probably just run your refrigerator off of electricity all the time.
Well, you can't run the generator after 8 p.m. You can only run it a daylight.
But you can still run an inverter.
Yeah, actually, my refrigerator runs on 12-volt, 110, or propane.
Yeah.
And it's a 3-way.
Well, I guess, yeah.
So I'd run it off I'd charge the batteries during the day when I could
Yeah.
run the generator, and then
Yeah.
I'd run the refrigerator at night, but
Yeah,
it would go off about 2 a.m. The battery'd go dead.
yeah. But you need one of them lawn cart batteries. Get your big battery.
Yep. Need a bigger battery. But, this Ford I've got's got built-in inverter, and it'll
Yeah,
provide 110. So
Yeah.
I'm anxious to try it, see how it does.
it probably, I don't know if it'd last all night or not either.
Well, I don't know what they'd say, but you can't run a generator at night, but supposedly if it runs the battery down on the truck will start itself and sit there and
Yeah.
keep the battery charged.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not a generator. It's a
No,
truck.
it's the truck.
I was just gonna say, even if you didn't have that feature, if it run it down next morning, you could start your generator and charge your truck battery.
Yeah.
So,
People don't understand. There was a guy across from us that had a big inverter, and they were running microwave ovens and all this stuff.
wow. Yeah.
And so I don't know what all they ran during the night, but anyway, the next morning he had it hooked up like with jumper cables to his truck battery.
Yeah.
Next morning he was coming around wanting to know if somebody come jump start his truck.
Yeah.
Because
What
he
does
ran
it
his
take?
truck battery totally dead.
Microwaves just suck up that power.
Yep. I mean, it's a big thing. It was a great big inverter.
I've got a 2,000 watt inverter. That's not very big compared to some of them.
Yeah, but a microwave will take
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It'll suck a battery down pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Well,
Yeah, I'd like to make another trip up there. I'm just too old to do it now.
well, that's why I keep telling my wife we got to get this stuff done now because
Yeah.
in 10 years I'm not going to want to pull the trailer up to Yellowstone or
Yeah.
we're going to Texas later this year in the fall once it cools off, and
Yeah.
going to be gone a couple 3 weeks again, and we got to do it now.
And we used to go to South Texas in the wintertime, where my wife and I both worked at the same place, and we had a lot of vacation time. We would take off before Christmas, and a lot of times not come back until after New Year's, and it didn't cost us very much vacation time because of all the holidays that we had in conjunction, with vacation time.
Yeah.
We used to go to Aransas Wildlife Refuge in the wintertime. We would take our camper. There's a little town there called Fulton, which is pretty close to it. It's around the coastal bend from Corpus. And we would do deer photography down there in the wintertime. And it was nice down there. Get away from the cold weather up here between Christmas and New Year's. I know one time we was gassing up there, and there's a woman gassing up there next to me, and she said, "Man, this cold weather is bad." It must have been about 60 degrees, She was freezing to death. Had a coat on, and I was out there in a short sleeve shirt.
We went to the Bahamas one time and it was 80 degrees, and we had a cab driver who was wearing a sweatshirt because he was freezing to death.
That's pretty crazy.
I'm trying to think where it is my wife wants to go to. Big Bend National Park.
Yeah.
There it is. Look at it. That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed this fall. She's one.
Yeah, that's a good, in the fall time's the best time to go down there.
So
Bend.
she plans it and I execute it.
Well, I'll tell you, if you really want to take a nice trip, talk her into going to Alaska. You'll never regret that, I guarantee you.
I was, you mean with camping or?
No, we flew up there and rented a camper.
Well, right now that's almost the only way to do it because I was reading on Facebook, Canada's been closed, so you can't drive up there.
It's open now, I think.
Yeah, I think Monday they were supposed to open up.
Yeah,
which
but
was
you,
like
you
yesterday.
don't want to drive up there because I had guys that I worked with that did that, and it just tore up their pickup and tore up their camper, and you might as well count on a windshield or two because driving that Alcan highway, you're meeting 18 wheelers that's going 60 mile an hour on a gravel road.
Oh,
that you meet. So you just want to fly up there and rent a camper. up
well,
there.
I was reading on Facebook, this couple just spent 6 weeks camping in Alaska,
Mhm.
and they took a ferry up.
Oh, yeah.
Took their camper and their truck and took a ferry up. And
Yeah.
somebody asked them on Facebook how much it cost to take the ferry up to Alaska.
Mhm.
$10,000 just
That's
to get their
crazy.
camper up there
Yeah.
in their truck.
See, that's what I say. Fly to Anchorage and rent a camper like we did. picked
They
us up
actually
at
said
six.
that's what most people did. And
Yeah.
part of it was the shutdown and part of, but most people were just renting them there.
They picked us up at the airport and took us a few blocks to their rental place, and we signed the papers and took off, man. That's the way to do
Well,
it.
there was a whole lot of that at Yellowstone too, a whole lot of rental
Mhm.
campers. I mean, about 50-50 some days,
Really?
I know there were that many, but a lot of foreigners in rentals, all nationality. I guess they
Yeah.
fly into LA or somewhere. And
I guess well, us going into fall probably weeded out a bunch of that because we didn't see that.
yeah,
And it's been 10 years since we've been up there, so things change.
camping is hot now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to find, especially small campers are just hard to find.
Mhm.
So see a lot of the great big fifth wheels, expensive ones, but
Mine's not real big. It's 27 foot with one slide.
yeah.
I don't want anything bigger than that because people make the mistake getting one too big and then they don't want to tow it. So then they don't go anywhere.
And I think 32 is the limit for a lot of the national parks. You can't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
take
It'd be
them in.
hard to park at 32 foot in a lot of places.
Yeah.
You need a small one. 24 foot would be just right. 24-foot fifth wheel with one slide out is great and it's not hard to pull.
I watch some of these people and you could tell they've never driven these things before. Even these I can't remember what class they are, but the one that's like on a truck chassis,
Yeah,
it's just a one. There were a
It's a-
lot of those rentals,
it's
and
a class C.
watching
Looks
those
like
people try to park them and level them. And
the one we rented in Anchorage was a class C. It's a Ford truck with a camper. The front of it looks just like a Ford 2500 or whatever, and
Right.
a camper bed back in the back. And
Right.
it was nice, and it worked great. The big problem that you have by doing that is a lot of places you can't go.
Yep.
You see what I mean? Because you got this
Yep.
big camper you're driving. Whereas when we go to Yellowstone or Rocky Mountain National Park, we park our fifth wheel and we got our pickup to drive around in. And you can go a lot of
Yep.
places.
yeah,
That
us
big old
too. And
camper, you couldn't go a lot of
a
places.
lot of places in Yellowstone, there are big signs: no campers, no
Yeah,
buses, no. I mean, they won't let you go down roads
Yeah.
because of
that's a good thing because people will be going down in there and getting
getting
stuck.
stuck. Yeah.
Can't get out, and can't turn around.
Yeah.
Road ends.
Well, that's where I like having my 4-wheel drive truck, and
Yeah.
we park the camper and we go
Take
off.
off.
I
Yeah.
also don't imagine those Class C's get very good gas mileage. I imagine
No,
they
it
eat some
didn't.
fuel, don't they?
Gas was kind of high in Alaska too.
Yeah, I bet.
It wasn't really bad. It was not as bad as I thought. It was about like California prices.
So I see a Davy on here. I didn't see a while ago.
Just popped
Hello.
up.
He's waving at us. Welcome, Davey.
Howdy.
Not sure I've seen you on here before.
Is that yellow bucket there a big old bucket of popcorn?
You found the Zoom, eh? Yeah.
Ah. Is that Danny back there?
That better?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Who's that in the background? Is that Denny?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going over to the other ham station.
He's going to raid the coffee pot.
Oh, you guys got it made.
I don't have any radios out here in the kitchen.
Well, I sure love to go back to Yellowstone. That's a neat place to go. Just gotta go. Next time you go up there, go about the middle week of September, second week of September, and try to stay in that full hookup place. If you're only there for 5 days or so, not too awfully expensive, and you have all the convenience of full hookup. Plus, there's a little grocery store there.
Yep. I'll tell you what, the stores all over Yellowstone they couldn't. I mean, the shelves were empty, and
Really?
one of the managers told me he said he couldn't get people.
Yeah.
Where's it over by? Gosh, there was one area where there are like 5 lodges. There are 5 big hotel-like buildings,
Mhm.
and they've only got one open because they can't get
Yeah.
employees to staff the others.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd like to go back, but the Smokies to me are what Yellowstone is to you. And my
Mhm.
wife and I started out in Kentucky, and we've camped many times in tents and
Yeah.
everything else in the Smokies, and just love going to the Smokies. And
I like
went-
Colorado too, man. It's beautiful up there. A lot of places in Colorado.
yeah, they said a lot.
Mike,
They said one of the reasons Yellowstone was so crowded is because some of the fires down in Colorado kind of driven
Oh,
the tourists up
yeah,
north.
I'd forgotten about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Well, I'm at the Zoom meeting, but I thought I'd jump in on my phone and say hello to you guys.
So, where you at,
I'm in Norman.
Norman?
Sorry.
Yeah, I've been watching you all on the screen, but I had to walk out to my truck, so I thought I'd just pop on real quick and say
Okay.
hello. But if Don gets on there, make sure you give him a hard time and see if he's got
Yeah,
that wire through the wall.
I haven't seen him. Maybe he's working on that hole in the wall.
Either that or he fell off the ladder.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump off, but I want to just jump on and say
All right.
hello.
Oh,
See you later,
okay,
Mike.
Mike, we'll
We'll
see
see
you
you
later.
guys.
Bye, Mike.
Bye.
Hey, there's the other Mike.
Another Mike,
HXT Mike. How you doing?
another Mike at the mic.
Mike at the mic?
Yeah. I'm recovering from trying to mow this morning.
Yeah.
Mower
Hey.
broke.
I got a new riding lawnmower, Mike. Got a new zero turn, and I don't have to worry about mowing for a little while because my kids like to drive it. So they get on there and keep the lawn mowed for me. That won't last very long, will it?
Not well. That's what I drove when I was working for the city.
Yeah,
Big 60-inch cut, had 3 blades under it.
yeah,
Hustler was
yeah.
brand.
I bought a Cub Cadet. I like Cub Cadets because they got the Kohler engine on them.
Yeah. Well, I went to one of the box stores today and put an order in for a pony. What? It's red. Let's see who makes those now. Troy Bill.
Roy Bill.
Boy, Bill.
Little, little 42-inch
Yeah,
deck lawn tractor for my parents.
yeah.
their steering knuckle just broke off and fell off there somewhere. I don't know where it went in the yard.
Yeah.
And I managed to get the thing back up the driveway, parked it. And I came in and I said, well, I think you got your money's worth out of your lawnmower, because I've been fixing on that thing for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. You get tired of fixing it, huh?
I am, yeah. Fix one thing and then another thing and give up. So
Yeah.
they're going to have a new mower for the rest of their lives, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the way I figure on this one.
I've got a Troyville 50-inch ZTR 0-turn
Yeah.
that I just put a brand new Briggs motor on it.
Yeah.
Cost me almost $1,000 to put a new motor on it.
Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? That's
That's
crazy.
crazy. Hey, man. You want to see the fellas? Hey. Come here. Come here. There we go.
There's quite a few people at the meeting tonight, looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the coronavirus is cranking back up. They may shut that down before long. Of course, all of them are vaccinated, I guess. I went to the post office this morning, had to take that package that's going to Norway, and had a new girl in there, and there's a black guy in there, and I talked to him before, and I asked him, I said, "Did you ever get your coronavirus shot yet?" He said, "Oh no, I'm not going to do that." Then I asked that girl, I said, "Have you been get your shot?" She said, "No, I don't even take the flu shot." And I said, "Well, most of the time the flu don't kill you, but this new coronavirus might."
Mhm.
I just don't understand them people.
I lost my nephew last year to the virus.
You lost what?
My nephew.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Why
he
would
died
you not-
last year from the
Why
virus.
would you not take a free shot that would save your life and other people's around you?
I've quit trying to figure it out, Ken.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
Well, listen, I need to get off of here. I got the grandkids are coming in from the East Coast tomorrow, and wife promised her I'd get up and help her finish cleaning. And
Well, you better do that, then maybe she'll let you get back on next week.
yeah, when do they leave? I have to look and see when they head out. But
Well, always good talking to you, Sam.
let me look here. Yeah, they don't leave till Wednesday, so they come on Wednesday and leave on. So I don't know if I'll make it next week or not. We'll see.
That's all right.
I may get my granddaughter on here and let her chat with you for a bit. So
There you go.
may get her on the radio. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Anyway, you all take care.
All right,
All right,
Sam.
Sam.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye bye.
Yeah, I gotta go myself. I gotta get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Run that school bus, pick up them kiddies in the morning.
Yeah, that's pretty early.
Yeah. Tomorrow's the first day of school at Noble, so.
Are you driving?
Have a good evening.
Yeah. You drive a bus for Noble?
Yeah. So. I see.
Well, I'm gonna have to get off here too, Davey. I got a few things I need to do. I've been sliding too much here lately.
I noticed you got a Samsung printer back there.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got one. I've got one that's a copier and a fax.
Yeah, that's a laser printer.
Yeah, so is mine.
Yeah.
But mine does the copying and the faxing too, so.
I have a separate scanner that I use, a flatbed scanner.
Yeah, if you go to Amazon, you can get the toner cartridges a lot cheaper than what you can the name brand.
Yeah.
I
That's
got,
that's where I get mine at. I get a lot of stuff from Amazon.
I got the 3 color ones, the yellow, the red, and the blue,
Hmm.
and 2 black cartridges for like $50.
Man, that's a good price.
It came in a big old box.
Yeah. You print a lot of color?
Oh yeah. Yep. I probably hadn't ran 1,000 pages through it.
You ever get on a ham radio?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I get on the 2-meter repeater a lot.
Yeah.
I'll be doing the N58ZX Memorial Net tomorrow night.
Yeah.
10-meter net.
Yeah, I need to try to get on that 10-meter net one of these nights. I'm pretty busy out of. I know it's hard to believe, but seems like I always got something going.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, my brother's got my pickup. I'd like to take the wave runner out to the lake, but he's got my pickup, so I have no way to take it out there.
Yeah. You go to Thunderbird?
Yeah. Yeah, I go out there and do wet donuts. What are you doing? Your daddy take you outside to desecrate the grass.
Well, I'm gonna get out of here, Davey. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Ken. Have a good evening, my friend.
All right, you too. Denny, we'll
Mike,
see
you
you
too.
later.
Stay out of trouble.
All
I'll
right.
try not to.
Mike, 7-3, Mike.
All right, Ken.
See who else there real quick. I don't see Mark.